Welcome YouTube and welcome Klal Yisrael to the first episode of i4i After Dark. I'm your host Ari, also known as i4i, and today we're going to talk about 12 things about Rabbi Akiva that you didn't know, probably. So hopefully you said Marv, and let's get started. Number 1, Rabbi Akiva was bald. How do we know that Rabbi Akiva was bald, considering that we don't have any pictures of him? We know this because Rabbi Akiva, whose son was also predominant rabbi and was featured in the Gemara, also known as the Oral Torah, was commonly referred to as the son of the bald one. This is how we know that Rabbi Akiva was bald. Number 2, Rabbi Akiva died for the study of Torah. Now, although it was illegal to study Torah at the time of the revolt of Bar Kokhba, it was also illegal to get bris milah. Rabbi Akiva, however, was not executed by the Romans because of the study of Torah. He was actually executed because he was charged with treason. He was the one who backed up Bar Kokhba and said that he was Mashiach. He was the one who had told Klal Yisrael that this revolt was going to bring us the Mashiach. This, however, was not the case. Number 3. There's a common story about an execution of a rabbi being wrapped up in a Torah scroll, being executed by the Romans, and a Roman soldier asking, "If I let you die sooner, does that mean I'll get to go to Shemayim also?" This story is true. However, this story is not pertaining to Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva did not die this way. This is actually a story about Rabbi Hanania. Number 4. Hadrian and his hatred for the Jewish people. Not much is known about why Hadrian hated Jewish people so much. Hadrian, by the way, in case you didn't know, was the leader of the Roman Empire, the emperor of the Roman Empire at the time of the Bar Kokhba revolt in 132 AD. Hadrian, who was a friend to the Jews before he became emperor, actually told the Jewish people he was going to rebuild the second Beis Hamikdash, whereas not much later he had a surprise attack on them in Alexandria, Egypt. There's not much said about why Hadrian hated Klal Yisrael and Yidden so much, but there is a rumor floating around. Hadrian was once married to a woman who supposedly converted to Judaism and had married Rabbi Akiva, who had multiple wives. This could be a potential reason about why Hadrian hated Jewish people in Klal Yisrael so much. Number 5. Rabbi Akiva before he became frum. Not much is known about Rabbi Akiva before he became frum at the age of 40. But what we do know is that Rabbi Akiva actually hated Klal Yisrael, hated frumkeit, so much to the point that he said if a rabbi tries to cause him tsaras, that he would chew him up like a donkey chews up. Now, why a donkey? A donkey, because when a donkey chews, it crushes anything that comes in its mouth. Rabbi Akiva passionately hated frum Yidden before he did teshuvah. Number 6. Now, although this is a modern era, meaning post-Jesus' death, Rabbi Akiva actually lived to the ripe age of 120 years old. This is also a reason why a lot of people think that he may have been a Gilgal of Moshe Rabbeinu. I don't know. Number 7. Rabbi Akiva was born in the year 50 AD. The Beis Hamikdash was destroyed in the year 70 AD. This would mean that Rabbi Akiva was actually born before the destruction of the second Beis Hamikdash. Although he didn't say much about this subject, we do know, however, that he was born at the time of the destruction of the second Beis Hamikdash. Number 8. Rabbi Akiva's wife had died before him. Why is this such an important subject? The reason this is such an important subject is because Rabbi Akiva's wife Rachel played a humongous influence in his life and took a huge gamble by marrying him, considering that it was before he did teshuvah. She was also the daughter of the wealthiest and most prominent man in Judea at that time. Rachel played such an important part of Rabbi Akiva's life that it's only natural that we talk about her death, which is not spoken of much. The truth is, though, is that she had died before him. Number 9. There's a rumor going around that Yeshua and Eliyahu, Joshua and Elijah, that the angels came down to recover his burned body after his execution and actually took his body and buried it in a discreet location. Although this is a rumor, rest assured, something in my neshama tells me that this may be true. Number 10. There's a story about Rabbi Akiva once on his travels encumbering a ghost, and he saw the ghost and asked the ghost, "Why isn't your neshama in Shemayim?" And the ghost replied to him, "The only way that my neshama can go into Shemayim is if my son does teshuvah." So Rabbi Akiva worked very, very, very hard to find this man's son, and he found him, and he told him the story, and he actually convinced him to do teshuvah. The man's son did teshuvah, and the man's neshama went up to Shemayim. This is a Gavaldic story. Number 11. Rabbi Akiva was once having a lot of money problems and took out a loan from a woman, a very wealthy woman in Judea at that time, and was unable to pay her back. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a nace for Rabbi Akiva that during one of his travels he found a treasure chest at sea on the boat, and he used this money to pay back the woman. And this just shows the power of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Hashem and what he's willing to do for the people that he loves. Number 12. Rabbi Akiva was executed by the Romans in a very harsh and fierce manner. He was in so much pain, he was screaming, crying, and saying Shema Yisrael, and the letters were going up to heaven. The Malachim were crying for Rabbi Akiva. How could you not? They were crying so much, though, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually told the angels that if you don't stop crying for Rabbi Akiva, that I'm going to end the entire world. They just wanted his pain to be over. He was in so much pain being tortured and executed by the Romans that it was causing the Malachim suffering. It was even causing HaKadosh Baruch Hu suffering. However, Hashem does everything for a reason. And he told the angels that you have to stop crying right now, otherwise I'll destroy the entire world. This just shows how powerful of a Rabbi Akiva was. And how may we have the zechus to know of a Rav so great and so holy like that of Rabbi Akiva. Anyway, this concludes our episode. Number 1, i4i, 12 things you didn't know about Rabbi Akiva, probably. And I'll see you again for episode 2, 12 things about the Rambam that I bet you didn't know, probably.